Hey everyone, by a vote of 227 to 205 just about 5 minutes ago, the United States House of Representatives passed the House version of the GOP tax reform bill, which contains the provision that is marked as Section 3604, which renders use of tax-exempt bond financing for professional sports stadiums as illegal. And because the Oakland Raiders' proposed Las Vegas NFL stadium is based on a financing mechanism spelled out in the Southern Nevada Tourism and Investment Act as a general obligation bond floated by Clark County, Nevada, that mechanism, as of right now, cannot be used. Now, there's still a long way to go before we have a final tax reform bill. But the Senate version of the tax reform bill that included the healthcare, I call it poison pill because no one wants to mess with anyone's healthcare, failed at the Senate Finance Committee. But when this version gets passed over to the Senate, given its performance here, it's a fair assumption that because it doesn't have a healthcare provision, it will pass the Senate as well. So that's the story right now, and I'll have more reaction on this and more follow-up. But in terms of the impact on the Raiders' Las Vegas situation at the stadium, basically it boils down to this. It will cost an extra, depending on how you measure it, $6 million more in monthly debt costs to the bond issue, a minimum of almost $900 million in additional costs to the bond issue that's proposed. So basically it'll be the same $750 million check that's written from the bond. That's called proceeds. But the interest payments, which you have to pay at the back end for a 30-year plus period, will not only be much greater, but the monthly debt service, already at points higher than the stadium tax revenue coming in, will be dramatically higher. What's the meaning there? It means this, that now, under this GOP tax bill, first of all, you can't use Clark County as a backstop. So the shortfall, the deficit, would have to be paid for by stadium revenues themselves. Right now, because the Raiders would have to pay the Bank of America loan obligation of $850 million, which boils down to, without interest, a cost of $28.333 million a year for 30 years, that puts the stadium at an already $27 million annual deficit in operating costs, or if you look at another way, additional revenue per year that has to be generated. Then you would add on this additional monthly debt service cost to the stadium's own operating costs. That is an absolute killer. The stadium is not throwing off enough revenue to do that. Subscribe to Zenny62 on YouTube. Bookmark Zenny62.com. Follow me on Twitter at Zenny62. I'll see you.